everybody wants a friend. Nobody knows how to make friends. That's something, at these dinner with strangers. And now that I've gone, 8 or 9 times, I'm starting to see some of the same people. But having these same conversations with them, they're like, it's a disconnected world. Like, we're so connected, but at the same time, we're so disconnected.
Welcome to the Friends with Benefits podcast, an Arcadia production. This is the show all about how to grow in business, lead with purpose, and live with intention. We're your co-hosting couple. I'm Jason.
And I'm Sam. Welcome to the show, friends.
Howdy, y'all. Hello, love.
Hey.
Today, this podcast I thought was super fun.
I agree.
For a lot of reasons. But most importantly, we got to interview my best friend of 17 years.
Yes.
That was fun. He's in town visiting. We asked D'Art. His name is actually really D'Art. D'Artagnan is his full name. Three Musketeers, if those of you who are familiar. Hey, do you want to jump on a podcast with us? And he is a guy that I've had many, 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 many deep, enriching conversations with. One of the guys that I wouldn't be where I'm at today without. And we get to dive into kind of what makes him who he is. And I thought it was really the most human of all the conversations that we've had.
I agree with that. And I think that sentiment would make sense coming from D'Art, knowing who he is. But I think that this episode, while we do talk about, a little bit of work stuff, I think the main point of this was connection and how hard that is for all of us, yet we aren't willing to admit that, and the bravery and curiosity it takes to go combat that and find our people and create our tribes. Yeah.
So we talk a lot about, in the beginning, he runs enablement for a tech company. He's got some really good takes there on how curiosity drives that. Really appreciate that. I think I learned a couple things. But we get into really making friends as an adult. Mm-hmm. And it's hard. No one talks about it. And so we chased that one down for a good amount of time, and I thought it was a really enriching conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if that's you, hear a conversation between me and my two best friends on this planet. Hope you enjoy it. This week we've got a very special guest with us. This is an episode of Friends with Benefits with a dear, dear friend of the Yarby household. D'Art and I was trying to do the math earlier. Not very good at that, but we've been friends now for right at 17 years.
That's twice as long as we've been friends almost.
17 years. D'Art Strickland and I have known each other. I moved to Charlotte back in 2009. I think it was 2009. And the first person I met was D'Art. So D'Art, welcome.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to join this. And when you're like, hey, can we do a podcast? I'm honored and a little flustered because I'm not usually on this side of the mic.
You're normally doing the interviewing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you get yourself in. I mean, it's kind of a new role, but you've been there for 2 years. I guess it's not new anymore. But one thing I was thinking about earlier is we'll get to your role in a second. I was thinking you and I have a wildly extensive, crazy labyrinth of a background.
I feel like we should do an episode where I am the trivia host. Wait, I'm the bingo host. And you each have a bingo card of jobs you've had in the past.
That would actually be very funny. And you might be one of the few people that have had as many jobs as I have.
I've had all the jobs. And in fact, I think, Sam, yesterday you were like, oh, of course you had that job.
Yeah. Okay, I got to tell this story really quick. The three of us went out and did bingo 2 nights ago.
The bingo joke.
And it was musical bingo. And the bingo announcer.
The host,
yeah.
I guess, I don't know. Bingo
He
master.
said, this rap group released an album called Three Communication.
In 1994.
And we all kind of looked at each other and we were like, the Beastie Boys? But the funniest part is that album is actually called
Ill Communications.
ILL, which could be
3.
Yes.
In Roman numerals.
So check your work if you're a host is the point of that story.
Yeah. Always be prepared, and don't call artist Joanne Jett. Yeah, that happened. But.
Anyways, it was a lot of fun. D'Art, let's talk about your current role right now.
Yes.
What do you do? Who do you do it for? How do you do it?
Yeah. So I lead enablement at BigID, sales enablement for our internal go-to-market team, and help with onboarding and host a lot of discussions internally. And I work for a company called BigID, and BigID is a data intelligence platform that helps unify discovery and classification across AI and data.
Okay, so I feel like especially in the world of go-to-market and partnerships, which is who we're typically talking to, enablement is such a black hole. And it either is very effective or not at all. So I want to hear from you. What are the key elements that make good enablement?
Let me back up a little bit. So I came from a customer side. So I worked with Nike for 7 years. And at Nike, I brought in BigID to help scan and classify our data specifically for privacy use case. After a couple of years working with privacy at Nike, owning the BigID tool from Nike side, Nike came and was like, hey, we don't actually own any tools in privacy. And so they kicked me out and I landed in data governance within Nike. Nice. And so now I'm sitting in data governance and I was like, okay, what do I do with this tool that helps? What it did at that point was it helped find all of the data that was being collected about people, you and me, right? And Nike was collecting it when you went on their website and when you went in their store. And just like every major company, data collection is everywhere, right? Everywhere. And so at the time, there was a new regulation out of Europe that said, hey, as a European citizen, you have the right to your data, right? You can ask for that data. The problem was that companies didn't know what your data was, right? Because it was all over the place.
Yes, we have it all. We do not know where it is.
Exactly. So what BigID did is like, hey, we can take and find all of the data and pull it together and say, okay, here is Jason's data. Here's D'Art's data. And then you can delete it or do a number of things with it. So that's what we were doing. So moved from privacy, very specific use case of finding that, into data governance. What does this look like? Well, we're already scanning all this data. For good governance, you need to know where your data is and what it is, right? And we were already scanning that, and BigID had moved and it kind of expanded into governance and really into security at that point too, because data is that underlying piece, right? So fast forward 7 years, I leave Nike, I joined BigID as really just sitting in that seat from the customer. I'd never worked for a vendor before. I'd always been on the customer side.
Yeah. First foray into tech world.
Right. And so now I'm sitting and I'm like, why am I in marketing? I don't do marketing. And they're like, no, D'Art,
you look like a marketer.
You've been doing marketing for us for 6 years and you just didn't know it. And I was like, and they're like, the expertise that you bring is knowing what the customer actually wants, right? It's not theoretical anymore. You've been the customer.
Yeah.
So you should know. So from an enablement perspective of where I sit, it's helping our sellers understand what the customer actually wants or what they need, right? And helping train them to get that view.
I think it's pretty cool. It actually gives you like the relationship with the customer. Like most companies, like the company I work for has a customer advisory board, but like you don't get that full-time access of the customer to come in and say, no, this is not how it should feel, how it should look. It's not how it should smell, right? So like you actually the customer in the seat, so you bring that relationship to a different level inside of BigID.
When I was at Nike, I did a ton of like referral calls, right, for BigID because I got to watch them grow. They were friends. They're just a great community, and so I had talked to a ton of different people that they had in the pipeline. So I was already doing that, right, telling these other people like, hey, here's how BigID works for us. Here's where I think it could use some improvement. Here's how it works. Yeah. And so now sitting on the other side of the table, getting to help our sales team say, hey, here's maybe how it does. So that comes in all forms, right, of actual, like our learning management system, quizzes, interviews. We do a whole slew of things to try to get that piece out. But I think I think confidence, to go back to answer your actual question, what's the most important thing? It's confidence, right? Of being able to say, I'm confident in what this does to be able to sell it. And so my job is to help build that confidence.
I think there's so many things to unplug here too, though, because yes, agreed. But delivery and connection and storytelling and all of those elements are so crucial to enablement, because otherwise, we've all worked with sales teams.
Yeah.
It falls flat. They're not going to pay attention. They have a million things to do. Like, this is the last thing on their totem pole. No offense.
No, agreed.
But like, to make it be something that is impactful and actually drives results is a very different story.
One of the first things that I did, I got invited to a sales offsite pretty early, right after I joined. And I went down there, and I'm a giant human being. I'm not a
Can attest.
I'm not a small dude. And so if I walk into a room, and I think for me, I'm pretty introverted, like in my soul. So when I walk into a room, I command the room, not because I'm arrogant or have a lot of ego, but because I'm a giant human being. So I'm going through, a couple of days this offsite, and one of the sales guys were like, D'Art, we need to get you in front of people. Like, we need to hear these stories that you're telling, or right? We need to know more of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's a great idea. Anyway, so fast forward, I went back and I asked my boss, I was like, hey, I want to do like a weekly or a bi-weekly call where I just interview these salespeople, because one, I don't actually know, right? I just came from the other side, right? And I had interactions with the sales folks from the customer side. But I want to, like, I'm just curious, right? The curiosity in me is like, how do you do it? What do you do? What kind of swag do you give away? Right? What perks do you get? What does that acronym mean?
I do remember that you and I had this conversation when you first started. I was like, there are so many acronyms.
I was like, bro, I am so lost. Help me out.
Everything is 3 letters.
And so I started this call called D'Art and the Deal, and where I basically just interview somebody who just closed a big deal, and it's just kind of one-on-one. We use Zoom, so everybody else in the background, I just pin the two of us up there, and we just have a discussion about, what did you do? How did you almost lose? Who were the competitors? What was the deal? What kept you up at night? And so that turned into something pretty cool, where we got to tell some of the customer story, and then also, I think the biggest thing that I learned is that these sellers are really in their own world, right?
Yeah.
They're not hanging out with other sellers. Like, they are focused on their patch. They are focused on doing
other than
thing.
pipeline review, which is such an invigorating call.
Right. So I got to help bring that community together, right? Of so there other sellers are watching and saying, oh, that's what Mark did, or oh, that's what Micah did, or oh, that's what like they're starting to hear each other and saying, oh, well, maybe that could work for me.
Okay, there's so many things there, like we just talked about. Like you said, the word community. I think that's so crucial and a part of that too. And most people, when they say enablement, they're like, here's an LMS system and a PowerPoint. Go be free in the world.
Right.
And there's no soul. There's no through line. You are creating an entertainment value to this.
Sure.
You're creating camaraderie, connection.
Most people aren't connected to their company. Right. I think the good ones are, right. They can create that. But I think, I'm learning here right now is like, good enablement person will connect the team to the company.
Well, you don't know that I'm a good enablement person, to be fair.
I do know this. No, you're connecting like your sellers and your team to the culture of the company, but you're also connecting them to the customer.
Right.
And it's like, you're the bridge.
There's something that I had heard a long time ago, about why people succeed or don't succeed in kind of face-to-face roles. And it's the difference between being transactional and relational.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too many times we find ourselves in transactional world where we really need to be in relational world, right?
Yeah.
We need to be able to tell that story. So I do, in the Start and the Deal thing, there's a point in the middle where I just ask this or that questions, and it's all about you personally, right? Like, beaches or mountains, whatever it is, because I want everybody to know that they're human, right? And I want this to be a relational thing, not just a check the box thing.
Yeah.
And I think enablement a lot of times can fall in the check the box transactional thing. I can't live there.
Right.
Did you consciously make the connection in your head of like, of what you're doing, of I need to build connection, I need to build community, I need to build a story as a part of your job?
I don't think so. I think it's who I am. I think it's I'm wildly curious in all of the things. And so that curiosity just manifests that way.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that there's probably some times when people are like, you should probably like do more stuff, like do more check the box stuff. I think that's kind of the opposite side of that. But I'm always more interested in how you are as a person than about what you're closing or what you're selling. Now that's important, right? That's how we make money. That's
Totally.
how, I pay the bills. It's how I keep my family fed. So that's super important. But I think that there's an agendaless way to get to that information, to get to that output without being like super transactional.
There needs to be both. It can't be either or. The reason I ask that is because in knowing you, I agree. This is a superpower of yours. Like, you've known Jason for 17 years. You've by proxy known me for 10. But you and I literally met, like seen each other. Is 5 times accurate? Maybe 6?
5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah.
But your family. Like
immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Immediately. And that's like, there are few people that I would be like, Jason, call your friend and have him come stay with us. Like, that doesn't happen, but that has to do with who you are. So I am asking that recently you have taken it upon yourself to put yourself out there and make more connections in the world. Talk about that. We've had a few conversations about this, but that's not an easy thing to do. And we're learning that the world is not set up to be conducive for that.
If I read between the lines, you're talking about the D'Art to Heart stuff.
Well, that, but also like the way that you're putting yourself in, you're checking out the local dive bar, you're going to these dinners, like you're putting yourself in situations to create community and encourage connection for your own self.
For a self-professed introvert, that stuff's hard to do.
That stuff's hard to do for extroverts. Like, I don't care. That's just difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, life sometimes throws you a curveball, right?
Yep.
And then you have a choice of, what do I do now? My whole world changed about a year ago with some family stuff. And so as a self-professed introvert, I found myself sitting on the couch a lot. And I was like, this isn't who I want to be. I don't want to be this person. This is comfortable for me, right? And that's the introvert part.
Mm-hmm.
The part when I'm getting in front of people, doing enablement, doing work stuff, interviewing folks, doing that. That's easy, right? But it's draining, but it's easy.
Sure.
And I can hide, I can mask when I do that. But when I found myself sitting on the couch, there was really a moment of, I've got to take control of this. Like I can't just keep sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
So found some cool stuff online of like, I'm literally Googling, how do you make friends? Like I think I literally Googled that.
I kind of want to know like the stats of that search term.
Search, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, because I'm sure
that is pretty staggering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a daily basis.
As an adult, how do you make friends?
Yeah.
Where do people hang out in Portland? Backspace. Where do old people hang out in Portland?
People don't talk enough about how hard it is to actually make friends as an adult.
Yeah. I think it's, and maybe even harder as a fully remote working adult.
Very much.
I don't go
with grown kids.
With grown kids.
That's what I was going to say, with grown kids.
So I just have one kid living with me now. So the others are out of the house. So it's just me and him. That's it. So it's just the two of us in the house. And, M's working full time and going to school full time. And so I'm literally just there. And I found myself there. And I was like, something's got to change.
Yeah.
Something's got to give. So Googled some stuff, found this thing that I called Dinner with Strangers, and just signed up. And then the day came for the Dinner with Strangers, and I said, I'm not going. And I deleted it. And then about a month later, I was like, I've got to do this. These same people signed up for this same dinner with strangers. Let me go do it. And so I did it, pulled up to the restaurant, and it just said on the app, like, go tell the hostess you're here for this, table 2. And so I go up, and I've been to a restaurant a billion times, and there's a little bit of, I don't know what it is, but
timidness,
maybe a little bit of like shame of like I'm meeting
I'm here
people,
to meet friends.
right? That I
Yeah.
didn't make somehow organically, like it's supposed to magically happen.
Mm.
And so, I'm here for this table 2, and they're like, oh yeah, right this way. And so I sit down at this table. I think there's 2 other people there at the time, and I'm like, hey, everybody, I'm D'Art. And we start talking, and then other people join. And at that time, there was 6 of us at the table, and we just all had dinner and just talked kind of about what we do, who we are, our living situations, wherever the discussion took us. And then after that, we all went to a bar. The other groups from the same app joined us at that bar. And then because I had made these pseudo friends from my dinner with them, they had done this before. When to get to the bar, they also knew other people. So they're like, oh, hey, D'Art, I need you to meet Jim. Oh, hey, D'Art, here's, Alexis. And so it was just a really cool way. And then I left and I was like, okay, that didn't suck.
Yeah. How did it make you feel?
Well, one, it made me feel good that I did it, right? That I didn't just like
do hard things.
Yeah, I can do hard things.
Yeah.
That I did it. And then 2, it was like, oh, okay. This was kind of neat actually talking to humans, right? This was
other adults.
This was crazy. I spend all day talking to people through a computer.
Yeah.
And then my kid, 3 times a week when they, happen to overlap with my schedule. It was really neat. So that was something cool. The other thing that I started doing was driving Uber.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because I needed the money, even though, every little bit helps. But I just wanted to, a couple things. I wanted to have human conversations in a non-intrusive way, right? I'm in the front seat. I'm looking forward. The car is the best place to talk anyway, because you don't have to look eye to eye to somebody. You can say what they can respond or not. And so I just started driving Uber, and it was a blast. I love it. I still do it.
And you told me you were collecting stories.
I'm collecting stories. So I'm collecting stories. I'm getting to talk to humans, and I get to practice storytelling.
It's like a Toastmaster class in curiosity and storytelling.
Absolutely. And you could tell pretty quick when somebody doesn't want to talk, and I don't force it.
You actually get the notification if somebody clicks no conversation in the app.
It's hidden deep in there. No, I don't listen to it.
Okay, wait, what's your rating? I bet it's high.
It's 5.0.
Yeah, I bet. If you're in Portland, look for D'Art. He's your driver.
I've had 1 4-star rating, but then once it falls off, like after you have so many, it's back to 5. So 5 stars.
That's awesome. I love that. Like, this is all guided by curiosity. Yeah. And I think that's I think I've talked about this all on the podcast, but it's such an overlooked and underappreciated characteristic or trait of adults. Like, we lose that somewhere along the way, which I think is why it's hard for us to make friends. We get, comfortable. We get shy. We get afraid. And it's like, we're not guided by curiosity. Like, is that just something that's always been innate for you? Is that something that you found later in life? Like, how do I get more curious, D'Art?
I think just noticing the things around you. And that was something I think I've been doing my whole life. Just like yesterday, I went to the gym, and I told you this morning, I was like, dude, there are so many Montana license plates. Like, how many different Montana license plates are there?
I think there's like 40 to 50.
There are 200. I looked it up. Like,
oh, there are?
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah.
And then I was like, is that the most? And no, it's not. Maryland has over 900 unique license plates that you can choose from.
Also, you should take D'Art to trivia.
If there's a license plate trivia.
Not music trivia. I'm not good with Joanne Jett. But
3 communication.
I think just noticing things, because sometimes I'll tell stories and people are like, D'Art, you have good stories. Like, where does all this stuff happen? And I'm like, it probably happens to all of us. I'm just trying to notice it more.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where that comes from, but I think probably the first step would be to like look for things.
Yeah. When you notice things, like, how do you catalog them?
It all depends on what it is. If it's something that I keep noticing over and over, I'll jot it down. I'll write it down. If it's something like the license plates and I have time, I'll pop it into Google or ChatGPT or whatever and just learn. So I don't have a catalog of, I think, here's all of my ideas. I do try to chase them down. I have self-professed and diagnosed ADD.
I think everybody in this room does.
I've never had it checked out. So sometimes I'll be doing something, and then 3 hours later, I'll be like, oh, that's what I was doing. What is the answer to the license plate thing?
I want to go to the deeper theme here, though. Like, yes, curiosity is foundational to this, but so is bravery. in the need for connection. And we've kind of talked about this a little bit too. And you're discovering this in that you are certainly not alone in that need for connection, desire for community. Do you have any like red thread discoveries that you've seen? Like everybody's doing this, everybody's struggling with this as you've gone through this journey.
Everybody wants a friend. Everybody wants more friends.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how to make friends. Like that's something, at these dinner with strangers. And now that I've gone, 8 or 9 times, I'm starting to see some of the same people, and then the after bar deal talking. It was really cool. Last week I joined the bar afterwards, and I walked in and people were like, D'Art. And I was like, oh my God, people know my name.
People recognize
this
that.
is crazy. This is crazy. But having these same conversations with them, they're like, it's a disconnected world. Like we're so connected, but at the same time, we're so disconnected.
Yeah.
And I think that thread is what runs.
We interrupt this episode with some breaking news.
Big breaking news?
Big breaking news.
Love me some BBN.
For the 3rd time, we are hosting the
Arcadia Leadership Experience.
July 27th through 30th in the woods of Montana.
Yeah, new location this year, deeper in the mountains, which is going to be fun-er. It's got some great spectacular views of the Bridger Mountains.
Sure does.
We've been out there to see it a couple times.
On property.
Also, there's yaks.
Yeah, kitty yaks.
Yaks on property. But anyway, what is this Arcadia Leadership Experience known as ALX?
ALX is an anti-conference.
Like a conference, but not a conference.
Correct. Hence the anti. For 65 of the top go-to-market GTM leaders in the space, coming together to learn from each other, build intentional relationships, have really unique experiences together, like fly fishing, yoga,
hiking,
sound bath.
But it's also great because we're helping people discover purpose and refresh. There's a lot of psychology of being in the woods for 2 hours can reset your brain. Imagine what 3 days in the woods can do for you. And you're in the woods because everyone's sleeping in glamping tents, with the exception of 8 people who get an indoor lodging this year.
So if that's your jam, sign up now because those will go fast.
They're almost gone.
They are almost gone. But anyways, we'd love to see you there. ArcadiaLeadershipExperience.com for more information.
And big thanks to PartnerStack, who's helping us pull this off yet again this year.
Yep, couldn't do it without them. So we'll see you this summer in Montana.
ALX 26, y'all. Peace. We're only getting more and more disconnected. Like you mentioned, you talk to people in Zoom all day. We talk to people in social media all day, and we mistake that for connection and interaction.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that we're learning as of the past few months is that people are craving that connection. They're craving the friendship.
Even people that you would absolutely not expect that from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to I think about our kids, like Jack and Nora, they're in school. They're in an environment where it's kind of set up to make friends and make relationships happen. There's not that place for adults really. There's the workplace, but if you recall our last podcast, Casey was talking about find friends outside of work. Don't let that be your full identity. So that's the only place we've really got as adults. We come home, we get comfortable, we kind of chill out and hang.
Yeah.
So we don't have those places. We just launched something here in town called Bozeman Knights. We had our very first event. We had 80 people.
We did zero marketing.
Zero marketing. People just showed up. We created a space it was all about networking. There was a 25-minute conversation with the founder of Element. Shout out Element, drinking it right now. But there was a space that we created to foster that. And we don't have that. And not only do we not have it, but outside of what you did, most people don't go looking for that space.
Sure. To your point, you just talked about this. There's stigma. It takes so much bravery. Yeah, we're all craving it.
Yeah.
But it's so difficult.
But it was bravery by default because I think if my situation hadn't happened, I would have stayed comfortable, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the uncomfort is what forced the bravery.
Sure.
So it was pushing into something that I was like, ooh, I'm already uncomfortable. Let's do the next uncomfortable thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was building oh, I'm already here. Let me not get comfortable in this
What's
uncomfort.
the worst that could happen?
Right.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? I never see these people again, right?
Yeah.
I say something really stupid and they laugh at me. I spill my drink on the table. Who knows, right? But what's the best that can happen? I can make a friend.
I'm curious now, you talked about you've been to this dinner with strangers 9 times. You're starting to see people again. Are they your friends?
I don't think so. Not
Okay.
yet. Not
So
yet.
what's the line there? Because
Hopefully
I
not listen
think
to this podcast.
I think that's an interesting thing too, because we all can go to a bar and meet somebody, but then I think that there may be an acquaintance. Would that be a right term?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. So what's the journey from acquaintance to friend?
You'll have to have me back because I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
With this particular app, you can connect with people in the app. So I've connected with a bunch of people in the app. That's how we kind of chat in the app, like, hey, this is where the after bar is. And then, we talk at the dinner and then at the after bar. I haven't. And when you asked if they were my friends, and I was quick to say no, it's because I don't have anybody's phone number. I haven't got myself to the uncomfortable point where I need to be more uncomfortable to say, hey, what's your phone number? Right. Or, hey, can we exchange? Let's hang out outside of here.
Outside of this constraint.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
It's because you haven't met someone that you kind of see eye to eye with or vibe with or really truly connect with.
No, I think it's a safety mechanism in me. I could take this one step, but maybe I'm not ready for the next step.
You're still comfortable. Like you haven't quite exceeded that level of uncomfortability to meet them outside of like that confined space that you're restricted to.
Right. Now, if they were like, hey, can I have your phone number? I'd be like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What's keeping you from doing it?
We're friends. That's the line.
That's it. Right. That's the introvert in me.
I do that a lot. I'm the guy that will ask for the phone number.
Yes, you are. And you're fantastic at that.
And I make you do it too. I'm like, of course, with our phone number.
But it weirds people out. Like I watch.
It really does.
I remember I did it one time at the pool. I met this guy and he's like, okay. I'm like, oh, I thought we kind of hit it off and connected. I don't have any friends. I'm going to hang out. And never forget that one. But like did it recently with some other friends. And like I watch now when I ask people for their number, like, hey, you seem like a cool guy. Like we've got kids, we can hit it off. Like we should hang out and get coffee sometime. Like, yeah, let's do it. And they're like, let me get your number. And they're like, oh.
See, I feel a challenge coming here. Like a
D'Art,
I challenge you to collect 3 phone numbers over the next week.
That's such an interesting point, though, because I have witnessed this for you, too, because I'm the one, I'm like, go do that. And then I sit at the pool deck and I'm like, how's it going?
It was very weird.
But
that one in particular was.
But it is
I
like,
gotta give him that.
Okay, why is that acceptable for like a romantic relationship? Like it's acceptable to be like, we are all looking for somebody to date. I'm going to go ask for their number. Yeah. And that's nerve-wracking too. Don't get me wrong. That's not like a shoe-in, but that's an acceptable situation. Doing that for friends is different.
Is it the same for women? Like I can understand why it would be kind of weird for a guy to guys. Like I'm not out there asking women for their numbers, so you'll get there. But I'm asking guys for their numbers to hang out and get coffee so I can make some friends. And it always has this awkwardness. Do women have the same experience with other women?
Maybe different, but yes. Like, for example, I'll give her a shout out. Allison, we met at the sledding hill the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Her kids are like, she's got kids the same age. She's got twin girls that are the same age as Nora. And like, Nora ran over one of them with the sled.
Like, dunk, 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 dunk.
And then I was like, oh my God. And then all the kids got up and high-fived each other. And I was like, okay, I feel like we should hang out. And then I left the sledding hill and I didn't get her number. And that night I was like, Jason, like that was meant to be. We have kids the same age. Our kids are the same. Like, what were we thinking? And then on Monday morning, she found me on LinkedIn and was like, I really wish I would have gotten your number. I'd love to hang out. And I was like, thank God.
That's awesome.
But that's so abnormal.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how to solve that.
You just keep asking. I'm okay with it now. It's like it's kind of like you mentioned, like being vulnerable. Like bravery requires vulnerability. Getting uncomfortable requires vulnerability. And it's like I'm just willing to. At one of these points, it's going to hit. Like I'm going to find a good friend who's okay with exchanging phone numbers. And if you have actually worked out, and I've got some good friends as a result, and we meet up and get coffee and.
You miss 100% of the numbers you don't ask for.
Yeah.
I think the assumption, at least the assumption in my mind, and the reason I don't is because I assume that I'm the only one who needs friends.
Which we have proven to be wrong.
You know what I mean? Like I assume like, oh, I want to hang out with that person. And they're like, oh, well, I don't really want to hang out with you because I already have my people.
I have too many friends.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. I experienced a lot of that when I first moved here to Bozeman. It's like everybody seemed to already have their groups. They're like, nope. You're an outsider, can't come in kind of thing. And kind of felt like high school again or something. But like to the point like we're seeing now, it's like, oh, I was completely off.
Yeah. It's almost like a survival of the fittest thing. Like no, everybody's in the same place, but nobody wants to admit, like, I don't have a tribe. I don't have a community. It just shows weakness, even though we all have the same weakness.
But like we're seeing people in connection, and you're hearing, like I hear from both of you guys, that when people like myself come up and ask for a phone number, it's not that weird after all. Like I feel like it's weird. I feel like it's awkward. But both of you are like, oh, cool. Somebody did it. Somebody asked for a number. They want to be friends and hang out.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you want my number?
Yes.
I'll see myself out now.
Okay, so what, for somebody that's listening that's like, God, me too. I need friends. What would you tell them?
I think it's getting out of your comfort zone, really. So, the Uber stuff and the dinner with strangers. The other night, talked about a dive bar, and I was heading home from a movie that I went and saw by myself. And I drive by this dive bar every night for the past 10 years. It's right around the corner from my house. And the movie that I saw talked a lot about a bar. It was kind of centered around a bar. And I was like, on the way home, I was like, I'm going to go to this dive bar tonight. I'm going to go in. And as I'm driving, I go to turn into it, and I drive right past it. I couldn't get myself to turn in. And then I was like, no, screw this. I'm going to go. And so I fought with myself. I turned around. I went into the dive bar. I parked, and I was like, I'm going to just sit at the bar. I'm going to have a drink, and I'll talk to whoever's at the bar. That's my plan. That's my strategy. I'm all by myself. I'm uncomfortable. Let's do it. And so I go in. There are no seats at the bar. There are only tables. It's not because they're full. There's just literally nowhere to sit at the bar. And the other part of the bar that did have seating was the chairs were already turned around facing another table and occupied. So I scanned real quick, and I was like, there's no place to sit other than like a booth. What am I going to do? Like, I felt sick, right?
Panic.
Right. Like, what do I do? So I ran to the bathroom. I
threw up.
I was like, okay, let's get my head straight. I was like, okay, I'll go look around, and then I'll leave, right? I'm not going to sit at a bar or at a booth by myself, and I'm sure as hell not going to go just walk up to some random strangers. No way. So I walk around. I see the little gambling machines and the pool table, and then there's a little patio outside. So I walked outside to get a breath of air, and there was a lady out there, and she's like, oh, hey, how are you? And I was like, oh, God, I'm talking to somebody. This is awesome.
It's working.
And so we just had a little conversation. She went back in. A couple minutes later, I went back in, and then I left. And I think about that time often because it's not always going to work, right? It's not always going to be a big bow.
Yeah.
There's going to be times like that where like I failed by driving by. I failed by like not actually having a real conversation with anybody outside of the 30 seconds at the patio. I failed by like not doing the thing I said I was going to do, get a drink and hang out.
You can't fail by trying.
But I tried, right? And I fought with myself, and I won. And I'll do it again. Not that bar, because there's no seats at the friggin' bar. I'm not going to sit in a booth by myself.
You should write a Yelp review.
You know.
Right. Please put seats at the bar. Sign lonely guy.
I'm trying to be friends.
I'm trying to make a friend. Just didn't want a friend. Yeah. So I think my challenge would be like, just get a little uncomfortable. Like, do the thing, fight with yourself.
Stop driving past the bar.
Stop driving past it.
Yeah.
Go in. Even if you don't succeed, even if you don't even get in the bar, but you get out of your car and you go to the door, hey, that's a step, right?
Yeah.
Then next time, go in and find that there's no seats at the bar, right? And then maybe next time, and then, if you do it enough, then somebody's going to either recognize you or call the cops.
But then you'll meet some friends in jail. So
Exactly.
Also, like, don't be afraid to like spark up the conversation or to ask for the phone number, right? It's like challenge yourself in that regard. It's like to be the one to initiate. I mean, I think where we get scared as adults, like if we initiate.
I think what I'm saying is that like my initiation is like just going in the bar.
Yeah,
like,
no, I'm hearing you.
That is the initiation,
Yeah.
right? And so asking for the number
it's like step
is
50.
like I've got another 3 months before I get to the number part.
Au contraire.
But I do think that's a really interesting point because you and I take it for granted. Like we could talk to a paper bag.
Yes.
Both of us could. And even still, there's been moments where like, I remember this one time you had a team dinner here and you guys were really late, but I was downtown by myself. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll just like go sit at the bar by myself. And I ended up making a friend. But like that initial like, oh my God, I'm going to sit here. What do I do with my hands? I guess I'll just look at my phone. Like, like there is
Yes.
such anxiety around being by yourself in a public place.
Yeah.
And then the expectation to step out of your.
Yeah. Well, now with stuff like, to your point, like we have pacifiers if we are out by
Totally.
ourselves, and
And then you're like, oh, they're busy because they're
Right.
on their
looking at
phone. Yeah.
I'm trying to get better. Like even if I'm out by myself or in line, it's like, let's not resolve ourselves to that.
Totally.
Like let's just kind of stay in the moment, see who's here. I'm curious, like you're doing all this, you're challenging yourself, you're stepping out of your comfort zones. Like what are you learning about yourself as a result?
I'm learning that I can do hard things. Learning that there's things that, so this year I'm not a big resolutions guy, but I've identified like 3 things that if given the opportunity, I'm going to pursue these 3 things. The first is health. I mean, if somebody's like, hey, you want to go for a hike? I'll be like, yes. I don't want to, but yes, I'll go. But I also, right, health is important. I'm getting older. It's important. So trying to make those habits that feed into that, not just working about eating better, doing all the health things, right? Everybody has that one. The next one is fun. So do fun things. I'm getting older. I don't do the fun things I used to do, right? And maybe it's not even doing the things, but having fun. I think sometimes we've professionalized ourselves so much.
We've forgotten how to play.
Right. We've gone out of that relational box into that transactional box, right?
Yeah.
And so that transactional box isn't fun. The relational box, to me, maybe not to you, right, is the fun part. Like I want to do fun things. I want to go to trivia. I want to, laugh
go skiing
at the
when
guy.
it's 55
right,
degrees.
Go skiing when it's, drive 12 hours when, right, that kind of thing. Like I want to lean into that thing. And the third one is sparkle. And sparkle, my dad used to tell me when I was a little kid that I had a sparkle in my eye. Like it didn't matter. He could tell that I wasn't telling the truth or whatever, but I always had a sparkle in my eye. And then fast forward, even into college, dating, got married, there was talk about like the sparkle. In fact, I read an old blog post that talked about like me losing my sparkle.
Okay.
And I was like, man. And I was in bed and I just wept. And I was like, I want this. I need the sparkle. I need the sparkle.
Yeah.
Like I need the thing that keeps me alive, the curiosity, the joy, the thing that drives me, that wakes me up, that gets me going. There's no like real structure to sparkle, but I think maybe the combination of health and fun, like maybe that will bring like some of that sparkle back.
Yeah.
So those are my 3 things.
I love that. Those are great. I'd be interested to hear how the journey to sparkle goes.
Yeah.
And like how you're finding that. We'll have to have an episode 2 of like finding your sparkle.
It's a feeling.
If you don't like put into it, build into it, then it goes out. It's like a fire, right? If you don't, if you just let it go, then it goes away. But you got to keep putting that wood on the fire, and that's something that over time that I stopped doing. I stopped putting that wood on the fire, and so that's what I'm learning about myself. And those things are hard.
You talked about transactional or relational, and that's part of it too. Like part of that journey for me has been like, I'm just going to do this because it feels good, or because it lights me up. It brings me joy. And there's no like outcome. There's no purpose to it. I want to ask on the other side of the equation as we are coming to the end of this, but in your work persona, and even in your personal persona, maybe less intentionally, but you also are a facilitator of great connection. I'm thinking about like the stories you tell me about this call that you lead where you start with music. You bring individuals in, you call them out. Like, what do you think could be, if somebody is looking to facilitate connection, what does that look like in your mind?
The easiest answer is to be human, right? I've been on countless calls where this is how it starts. Hey, everybody, welcome. We're going to give 2 minutes for everybody to join. Okay. 1 more minute, right? And then that's it. Like there's no like
engagement.
There's everybody's camera is off. Now sometimes I keep my camera off too because I'm laying in bed, right? I'm not always going to turn my camera on. I'm not always going to be at my desk because I work remote and I can do that. But there's times when like just showing a face makes a lot of difference, especially for remote folks. And so I think just having a human connection. I had a call with a guy today, and he had his camera on, and I was like, "Oh my God, where are you? It's nice and sunny and bright." And he's like, "I'm in Argentina. I'm working here for a month." I was like, "That's awesome.
Let's talk about that.
That's awesome."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, let's talk about that. And so it was that conversation of like this connection about, between humans.
Yeah.
So I think that's the facilitator. Even if it's weather, like, right? Like, oh man, it hasn't snowed today. I'm in Bozeman. It hasn't snowed, in 13 years, whatever it is.
God.
But I think just having a human connection, and music is great at that.
Mhm.
So you turn music on. I am the world's worst making a playlist. I can't do it because I just put songs I liked, in this playlist.
Yeah.
And they
20 years ago.
They do not go
I was
together
gonna say, you
whatsoever.
have a very broad taste in music, so that playlist is a journey.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good for me.
Yeah.
But for everybody else, it's terrible. But I'll find a song, like an old song that's used to be popular, or whatever, Don't Stop Believing or something, and play it. I played Bad Bunny because of the Super Bowl this coming week, right? And undoubtedly, no matter what I play, somebody in the comments is like,
something to say.
Hell yeah. Or somebody like comes on the screen, is like, oh, I saw them at Red Rocks, in 1922, whatever it was, right? So I think the music piece helps people like shed a little bit of that.
Lets a guard down, lets you realize like, oh, we're human. We're listening to music at work. It's cool. And I think what's crazy about all that is like we're, to use your term, like we've become so transactional at work, we've forgotten how to be human.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm now seeing like sales trainings, and even like our last podcast, like we're now having to be trained how to be human at work.
Yes.
Which is
or
like
in our lives in
crazy to
general.
me. Yeah. Even
Yeah.
In general. And it's like we've just forgotten how to human, like how to talk, how to socialize and interact and be curious, right? And all that leads to like losing the sparkle. And it's like,
and we collectively lost the sparkle.
Right.
Yeah.
More glitter.
More glitter.
More human, like humanize yourself.
Right. And I think even like in a workplace, and Brene Brown talks about vulnerability and courage to go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to be like super vulnerable at work, but having a little bit of it, right?
It goes a long way.
It goes a super long way because it opens up other people's, right? Because everybody's multitasking anyway, and they hear D'Art say something about like, my kid's car broke down this week. Like, wait, what? The car overheated, and what did you do? Like, right as I'm telling the story before the meeting starts, and now they're engaged, right? So
I think music does that simply too. It's just by like offering something that's out of the ordinary. And as sad as it is, music in the workplace is out of the ordinary. But yeah, it's just creating those tiny moments of connection.
Yeah, that's it. Tiny moments. That's all it takes.
All right. Well, D'Art, I'm glad you're still here for a few days because we get to talk for hours and hours more.
Learn all about enablement. I can't wait.
Me too. Maybe I can learn something.
I'm going to drop you off at a bar, and
you can't get back in the car until you have a number.
You can't come back until you have 3 numbers.
That's fine. I got ways. I'm
curious.
I'm curious.
You can use
right?
my number and call me.
Sam, I need 3 numbers. Please help me out. My God, this old man keeps looking at me.
This has been a fun conversation. This is, I think, a different style of conversation we've had on the podcast, and I'm here for it.
Thank you for your...
It feels human.
Oh, thanks.
Well, yeah, it does. Thank you for your vulnerability and your bravery. And I know you're doing it for yourself, but it is really inspiring to see. And yeah, the world needs more D'Art to Hearts.
Oh, thanks.
Should we direct people to you online, LinkedIn, D'Art to Heart? Tell us more.
Yeah, anywhere. If you want to find me, I'm on LinkedIn. I write I was saying earlier, and asked Sam, like, are you talking about the D'Art to Heart? So I started writing as an outlet as well, D'Art to Heart. It's on Substack. I don't have the name yet. Somebody's going to buy it and, do something with it. I should probably buy it now. Anyway, it's on Substack, D'Art to Heart. And
it's excellent. It's the one newsletter that I read consistently. So
thank you.
Yeah, it's really good. And for those that are listening at home, your name really is D'Art.
It's
short for D'Artagnan.
It is.
Which I know.
Yeah, my dad was a grad student, and he's like, I'm going to screw this kid up. It's cool now, but like in third grade, I was like, why is there a G in my name? I don't understand.
Why am I a Three Musketeer? I don't understand. Love you, man.
What you guys are doing is inspiring, and it's awesome to watch kind of from a front seat, back seat view of being alongside of you guys on this ride and watching and knowing your hearts and knowing kind of where you want to take what you guys are doing. It is extremely honoring to be able to just be alongside of you guys for this ride.
Oh, thank you, man.
This is awesome.
Stay alongside for as long as you can.
Absolutely.
We love having you here.
Friends, thanks.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
See y'all. Go be human.